Bells will be ringing, the glad, glad news. Oh, what a Christmas to have the blues. My baby's gone, I have no friend to wish me greeting once again. Choirs will be singing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MeanGene Show here on iHeartRadio. It is our Christmas Eve show, the last show for 2021, and we are going to cover week 16 of the National Football League here on December 24th, 2021. I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. No show on KDWN Las Vegas due to the Christmas falling on a Saturday. I will be back next week for sure for week 17 of the National Football League. Dustin Pfeiffer from Bally Sports Southeast will also join me next week. Dustin covers the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte Hornets right there in Charlotte, North Carolina. So week 16 got underway on Thursday night, and we will talk about the 49ers versus the Titans. We'll talk about that. We will also do a NFL rundown, and that will be as of Christmas Eve. That will just get you prepared for everything that's happening in the NFL. So now, as I do this show on Christmas Eve, and I know sometimes parents will listen to this show and the kids might be next to them, so I will let you know where Santa Claus is right now. Santa Claus is in Copenhagen, Denmark. Okay, so he's getting close. All right, so if you listen to this show tonight, and if you're listening to the show now, so that's where he's at. Okay, so on his way to Norway and traveling with the reindeers and all of that great stuff, and we'll be making this way to the great old USA. All right, so, we got 2 games on Christmas Day, and we will talk about those games. We have, and this, like I said, the NFL is never done. I will let you know exactly what's going on in the standings and the playoffs and everything. I mean, the NFL is not even close to deciding who is going to be in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, we got front runners. We got, the NFC division front runners. You got your AFC division front runners. But, man, it's not over. I mean, it is not over. And we have this thing is going to get down to the wire. So we're going to go ahead and cover all of that. So let's go ahead and start with the Thursday night game. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Titans, a great matchup this late in the season. So just to let you know how, tight things are in the NFL as far as who's going to clinch. And this is an NFC team versus an AFC team. Normally this late in the season, when you get those interconference matchups, it really doesn't matter. But no, this one mattered because the 49ers were hot going into that game on Thursday night. And the Titans needed, a win because they just really needed to secure things in the AFC, in that AFC South, and especially coming off that loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it was a huge game for them, and they got the win 20-17. And I'm going to look at the stats here from that game, and I got those stats right here. So the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, and say what you will say, about this guy, 26 of 35, 322 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and that might be the tell of the game there because a close score, right? 2017, but those 2 interceptions really did it, and how and when those interceptions took place really did it for him. Some other noticeable stats there. Wilson, the running back, 14 rush, 45 yards, touchdown there. Deebo Samuel. I tell you what, now I'm going to talk a lot about Deebo Samuel because I am in the playoffs in my fantasy football league. So I'm okay with the 49ers. I don't necessarily root for them or or I don't root against them, but I definitely root for Deebo Samuel because I remember drafting him early on in August during the fantasy football draft, and I knew Deebo Samuel was going to be huge, and boy, was he huge last night in that game against the Titans. 9 receptions, 159 yards, and he is a receiver, by the way. Even though he lines up and plays running back, they use him so much. I mean, they use him so much to where at one particular time they had to take him out of the game just so he can catch his breath. But on the rushing end, 5 rushes, 32 yards, but on the receiving end, 9 receptions, 159 yards. So this guy, and he was targeted 11 times. That, that's just how important he is to that San Francisco 49ers offense. But nevertheless, hey, the Titans get the win, and the Titans are in a very good position there. So let's go ahead and look at the AFC South. So they are now 10-5, but the Indianapolis Colts are still there. They're 8-6, and we're going to talk about them because they are part of your Christmas Day weekend or Christmas Day games there taking place. So we'll talk about that. But I can the Titans still have not clinched. I don't think any team is clinched except I think the only team that is clinched is clinched the playoff is where are they? The Green Bay Packers. Okay, so I mean it's tight. It's really, really tight in the NFL, and that's why every game, even this late in the season, is still important. So the Titans, 10-5, looking pretty good. 6-2 at home, 4-3 on the road. They are looking pretty good. And word has it that Derrick Henry, their all-purpose running back, might be there when they need him the most. Now, if you listen to the show that me and Dustin Pfeiffer did early on in the year, I said that the Titans, the two teams that I said would be the most surprising teams in the NFL this year were the Arizona Cardinals and the Tennessee Titans. And, I mean, it's recorded. I can go back and play it at any time for any of you who have not followed the MeanGene Show throughout the season, okay? And my sister, she listened to the show regularly, so she can vouch for me, okay? So, but no, those were the two teams because you just have to see it coming. And then when the Titans picked up Julio Jones, who they do not throw the ball to, but I don't know. The reason why Julio Jones is not a big target for Ryan Tannehill is because there's something with Julio Jones and Mike Vrabel. They got off on a wrong start, but I guarantee you, if the Titans get into the playoffs and if they go deep, trust me, Julio Jones will be part of it. And don't think they signed this guy for no reason. I've seen it before. I've seen players get signed and you wonder why did they sign this guy? And next thing you know, in the Super Bowl or deep in the playoffs, you'll find out why. But trust me, you will find out why they signed this guy. Now I know AJ Brown is the number one guy in the Titans offense, but let me tell you, as long as Julio Jones is healthy, they will find a way to get this guy going. And he was only targeted one time last night in the game against the 49ers, but do not count this guy out. And it's just a plot, and it's a tactic. Julio Jones will show up. They did not bring this guy over for nothing. And I tend to think that the Titans are going to be there. Look, if they get Derrick Henry back, do not count the Titans out. They are going to be a team that could probably give the Kansas City Chiefs some competition there. And that's considering that we have a Kansas City Chiefs Titans AFC Championship game, which could happen, But anyway, now looking at the 49ers. So we're going to go over to the NFC the National Football Conference and just see where the 49ers are falling there. And we're looking at that NFC West. The Arizona Cardinals are 10-4. The Rams are 10-4. And going into that game, the San Francisco 49ers were a very hot team, 8-6. Now they're 8-7. So to get 3 teams in that division in the playoffs, it's still possible. Because you're looking at the Saints there. So depending on what happens Monday night between the Saints and the Dolphins, Saints win, they're 8-7. Then things are, and then you got the Minnesota Vikings. So things are still going to look kind of interesting there. The one team that does have a lock there at that number 5 spot there in the NFC playoffs, it would be the Rams. They're 10-4. As a matter of fact, the Rams could still win the NFC West. So, it just depends. A lot of things that's why things are just still undecided this late in the season. And this is just crazy. Only the NFL could plan something like this to make it so exciting to where we just don't know what's going to happen this late in the NFL. But do not go to sleep on the Rams. And you could get 3 teams. And you could, look, the Seattle Seahawks are still in the hunt. Now, I don't think you're going to get all 4 teams from the NFC West in the playoffs. It could happen, but I doubt it. But anyway, that's just where things are. So, but anyway, Thursday night, Week 16 got underway, and it was a Titans win, 20-17. I have no doubt that the Titans are going to win the AFC South, and but the Colts are, not so fast. The Colts are hot. They have won 4 of the last 5 games there, so they are really peaking and streaking, and no one is bad-mouthing Carson Wentz and the Colts, even though that was a team that started out with their first 5 games of the season was horrendous, and no one's looking at that now. It's all about what you do in December and that first week in January. That's going to matter, and things are really, really looking good for the Colts here. So, all right, we are going to look at what is called the NFL rundown. All right, and this is something that I get this report from the NFL all the time. All right, and I look at it sometimes, and it's a rundown, and it sort of just kind of tells you where things stand. Okay, so the playoff field with 3 weeks to play, there are 27 teams still in Super Bowl contention with 3 weeks to play, and that's crazy. And only one team, the Green Bay Packers, have clinched the playoff spot, and that's the fewest through Week 15. That's the fewest teams through Week 15 to clinch in 28 years. One team. That is just amazing. Normally, you would have a bunch of teams that would have clinched and this, that, and the other. And normally, this late in the season, games just don't matter. People are not even paying attention to games. And I know they added a game, but even with adding a game this late in the season, no one is paying attention to these games. All of these games still matter because only one team has clinched a playoff spot. And you got 27 teams still in Super Bowl contention. So nobody's giving up. So for the first time in 19 seasons, the AFC is going to enter Week 16 with no teams having clinched a playoff berth. So that's why the AFC is so important. So this is your rundown. Okay. So we got the battle for first place in the AFC North. And we're going to talk about that because we got Baltimore, you got Cincinnati. This is going to be huge. This is going to be huge. And then you got these NFC matchups with playoff implications, with the Rams and Minnesota. You just got so much going on in the NFL right now. And that's why you just cannot go to sleep. And even with the Saturday games, I know you normally like, okay, it's December, man. I know my team. Hey, we already know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. No, you do not know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. You don't know. And it's December 24th. And that's why I'm doing the show on Christmas Eve, because I don't know. I'm still trying to gather this stuff just like you are. So, but yeah, for the first time in 19 seasons, the AFC will enter Week 16 with no teams having clinched a playoff spot. So if your favorite team is in the AFC, you still have a chance. So this is your rundown, and this is what the NFL is talking about. So let's talk about the two games on Christmas Day. We got a pair of front runners for the 2021 Associated Press MVP. They're going to be in action on Christmas Day as the league features two Saturday games on the Week 16 schedule. So first, we got the Cleveland Browns, 7-7. They're going to travel to play the Green Bay Packers, who are 11-3 at Lambeau Field. All right, so now the latest word I had was that Baker Mayfield is going to play because he cleared COVID protocols. And COVID protocols in all sports is huge right now. So, man, for a minute it was looking pretty bad. We didn't know who was going to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. So, Aaron Rodgers is, man, he's on that MVP race. And just when I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to lose, they got that mentality like, nah, we got to keep it going. We got to keep it going. We just got to keep it going. And this is why you're not seeing, backups come in now. Normally, like I said, this late in the season, teams are resting players and, setting their starters because they've already clinched. Well, nobody has clinched. So except Green Bay could, but it's not enough. I mean, Aaron Rodgers wants to be the MVP, and you know how things started with the Green Bay Packers this season, with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers going at it, and Rodgers basically had to put up a shut up this season, and looks like he put up, right? Looked like he did what he needed to do, and he might be the MVP. But I'm going to say that so far, and this is what he's done here. So he passed for 268 yards, 3 touchdowns with no interceptions, had 132.2 ratings in the Packers' Week 15 win. And Rodgers now has 30 touchdown passes this season and is the 5th quarterback all time with at least 8 seasons of 30 or more touchdown passes. Now he joins Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Pro Football Hall of Famers Brett Favre, who we know he doesn't really care about, right? Brett Favre. You know the story about Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and Peyton Manning. So Aaron Rodgers is trying to get this MVP. So this is going to be a pretty good matchup. Cleveland, and I just talked about that AFC North, is up for grabs. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals. As of today, Christmas Eve, any one of those teams could win the AFC North. So they're not going to quit. That's why it was so critical for Baker Mayfield to clear COVID protocols. And I'll tell you right now, anybody that catch COVID right now, I tell you, it's critical. You don't think these teams are going to take all the necessary precautions to keep their players and everything safe? I'm surprised that they haven't said no fans allowed. That could be coming. I doubt it because there's so much money to be made in the NFL. I just don't. I don't know. It probably won't happen now this late in the season because tickets are purchased, and we are late in the season, by the way. And I don't see it. But anyway, The AFC North is up for grabs. So this game is going to be very meaningful. Like I said, every game is meaningful. So your first game on Christmas Day is going to be the Green Bay Packers and the Cleveland Browns. So I'll make my picks here in a little bit. I'm just setting you up for these games. And by the way, Santa Claus, from what I'm being told, is in Munich, Germany. All right. He's heading to Munich, Germany. So I don't know. I'll let you know where he's going to be by the end of this show. But right now, he's in Munich, Germany. All right. So the second game on Christmas Day is going to be the Indianapolis Colts, 8-6. They meet the Arizona Cardinals, 10-4, at State Farm Stadium there in Phoenix. So I've been to that stadium. It's pretty nice. It's really, really, really nice. But here we go. Another game. 2 games that are just so important. Indianapolis is, that's why Tennessee, still needs to take care of business. And that game was so important for them last night. And the Colts, man, one of the hottest teams there. They won 4 of the last 5 games. I just told you, right? And they are trying to, make sure that, they don't make things too easy for Tennessee. So they're going to play Christmas night there. Man, I tell you, the kids are going to be opening the gifts and all of that stuff. That's why you can't have too much eggnog on Christmas Day, because, man, you got to pay attention to these games, right? So in last week's win, Colts running back Jonathan Taylor had 29 carries for 170 yards, including that 67-yard run touchdown to put the game out of reach. And this was with 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter against the Patriots. All right, so just like, people always say that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick is known for taking away your greatest weapon or your greatest threat. Well, he damn sure didn't do it against Indianapolis, because the greatest threat on the Colts team is Jonathan Taylor, who had 29 carries for 170 yards. And this is why I'm not really sold on this Patriots going to the Super Bowl. I'm not buying it, okay? Yeah, it sounds good. The hype is always good. All right, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it because I get it. Belichick is good. Yeah, look, I'm not going to take away what they have accomplished with Mac Jones, and that defense is good. That defense for the New England Patriots was good up until last week, when they allowed Jonathan Taylor to run up and down the field. You gave up a 67-yard touchdown run late in the game. And, where was the breakdown? Because you already knew what the Colts were going to do. You knew they were going to run the ball. So I'm not buying it. I'm not trying to see Tom Brady. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if it's going to be Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. I'm not buying that. There's too many teams. This is why no one has clinched yet. And the Colts have just a good chance to get there in the Super Bowl as anybody. And the NFC, man, when you look at these hot teams, and I'm gonna talk about a team that I really don't care about, but you got to look at them. The Dallas Cowboys are a good team. The Dallas are they better than the Green Bay Packers? I would say no. Are they better than the Rams? I would say no. But when you get to the playoffs, when you get to January, is who's playing? Is who's hot? And it's just one game. Man, you play a bad game in January, you're out. It's not that, The season don't count anymore. What you did in the regular season doesn't matter. And if you're hot going in, and that's why you got to look at these December numbers and what teams are doing in the month of December, where the Dallas Cowboys typically have, been horrible in the month of December. And we'll talk about them a little bit later, but I'm just saying, I don't know who's going to win. I know I made my picks early on in the year, and I think the Tennessee Titans can get to the Super Bowl. And I think, from the AFC and from the NFC, the Rams could get there. I don't know about the Cardinals anymore, but I did say the Cardinals would be a team to look out for. But and the Packers are still good. But man, all it takes is one slip up. Somebody just has to be better than you that one game in January, and that's it. So we're gonna see. It could be the Cowboys and the Titans. I wouldn't. I'm just throwing that out there. But anyway, but Taylor leads the NFL with 1,518 rushing yards. He has 17 rushing touchdowns. And remember, for a while there, we're looking at Jonathan Taylor versus our guy over there in at Tennessee who might come back there. But he became the fifth player in NFL history with a rushing touchdown in 11 consecutive games within a season, and the first since Pro Football Hall of Famer LaDainian Tomlinson in 2004. So those are Hall of Fame numbers there, which, that's why I said that, because usually when your numbers get to the level of Hall of Fame number guys, then you're probably going to make the Hall of Fame. So, all right. Okay, so let's start with the picks for Week 16, and we'll go ahead and start with the Christmas Day games. And so, like I said, the latest word is that Baker Mayfield will start in this game after clearing COVID protocols. So I'm going to go with the Packers. All right. And I say that Baker Mayfield would probably try to make things happen, because so many storylines are out there. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers want to be the MVP. The Packers got the division. And I don't think the Packers are going to just, after seeing what happened last year with the Packers and how they just folded and went out at the hand of Tom Brady, and the Buccaneers, I don't think the Packers, I think the Packers just want to just say, hey, let's just do this to the end. Let's not let off the gas. Let's just get this thing done. And I think that's what the Packers want to do. But I also know the sense of urgency for Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, because I said the AFC North is up for grabs. And the fact that he's able to play in this game, what's this alert? Okay, Santa Claus is someplace in Belgium. All right, I'm just letting you know it's Christmas Eve, okay? All right. But because the AFC North is up for grabs, it's going to be a good game. That's why Christmas Day. Wow. In the NFL Christmas Day, these games are going to be good. So I got the Packers winning. All right. So let's look at the Cardinals here. All right. And let me go to my capsules. And when I go to my capsules here, that just tells me exactly what happened last week. And the Cardinals, man, I'm still tripping over the Detroit Lions getting the best of the Cardinals. You still got to explain that. But anyway, they lose 30-12. They clean it up there. Should have been worse than what it was. They lose 30-12 at Detroit. So I know the Cardinals are going to try to get even. But the Colts, man, the Colts are just, They beat New England last week, 27-17. Jonathan Taylor getting it done. This guy wants to be, oh man, 170 yards. I gave you the numbers on him. Man, give it up to, the coach of the year in the NFL. I don't know who you going to give it to. You can give it to Bill Belichick too. You can give it to Bill Belichick. You can give it to Frank Reich. You can give it to a lot of coaches. Man, that coach of the year is going to be hard to decide for the sports writers and the voters there. I'm going with the Cardinals. Like I said, the game is played at State Farm Stadium there in Phoenix, Arizona. This is the late Christmas Day game, so I got the Cardinals winning that game there. And it's going to create a lot of issues there in the AFC if the Colts lose this game. Man, last thing you want is an out-of-conference game, and that's what you got, because the sense of urgency for both teams is at a high level. But, man, I got the Cardinals winning the game. All right, so the first game on Sunday, Detroit Lions versus the Atlanta Falcons. And the Falcons, they are 6-8. The Detroit Lions are 2-11-1. Those numbers just look so ugly. They just got high draft pick written all over them. Falcons, they lose to the 49ers 31-13. And Detroit Lions, they win over the Cardinals. I got the Falcons winning, and they have a chance. The NFC is crazy. The NFC, for the seventh spot, the last and final wild card spot, or playoff spot in the NFC, I think it's going to be a team with a losing record. I think it is. I mean, and this is something we've seen before. Remember, they just added these 2 extra teams in the playoffs. Used to be 12. Now we got 14. So the chances, and this year, with the competitiveness being at a high level, you got to know that, but forget about the records. It's just how great these teams are playing. And the Falcons is no one is mathematically out, because I just said you just got a bunch of teams that are still in playoff contention. So I gotta say that the Falcons are going to win this game on Sunday. All right, the next game we have is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 10-4. At the Carolina Panthers. So I think, and this is why, man, I like having Dustin Pfeiffer on the show, because he covers the Carolina Panthers, and he always has the latest and greatest news on Matt Rule, the coach, and Cam Newton, the quarterback, and how things are going there with Cam and everything. And the Buccaneers, they lose to the New Orleans Saints 9-0. They didn't score anything. So the Buccaneers sign Le'Veon Bell. They bring him in, and Le'Veon Bell is like what deciding. Well, he was going to retire, and then he was getting ready. He was going to retire and go into boxing. So he says, "Well, all right, man, I got another life." So Le'Veon Bell now is going to be on the same team with his former teammate from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Antonio Brown. So this is going to be interesting. All right, so you get Brown and Bell back on the same team together in Tampa. And the Buccaneers are going, and this game is played at Bank of America Stadium in Tampa, in Charlotte. So I got the Buccaneers winning. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, because we already know that the Buccaneers, they got shut out. Even though it was 9-0, it's almost like getting beat 45-0. And remember, Brady was sacked, I believe, 4 or 5 times in that game last week. I mean, it was ugly. It was really ugly. And not to mention, they took a beating on injuries. So Chris Godwin, one of Brady's top receivers, well, hell, he was one of my top receivers in fantasy football. I lost him. Brady lost him. The Bucs lost him. And now they are, and Leonard Fournette, I think he's going to be out in that game. So Ronald Jones is going to be the lead back. So that's why they brought Le'Veon Bell. Mike Evans is out. So, man, the Buccaneers are hurt. So it's not going to be that easy now. It's not going to be that easy for the Buccaneers because it's not like they coming in there with all their weapons. And you know, they got a lot to deal with. But Cam Newton, running back Chuba, Herbert, DJ Moore, I mean, don't be surprised. And this is a conference game. This is an NFC South conference game. And anytime you get a conference game late in the season, anything can happen. And most of your games going into this week, some of them, but majority of them are conference games. And I mean, don't be surprised if Carolina wins. And if it does, man, that's going to hurt Tampa. You know, so and because in the NFC, Tampa still has an outside chance of hosting the NFC playoffs throughout. No one has clinched anything to clinch the playoffs throughout. So that's going to be interesting, though. But I still think the Buccaneers win because they just played horribly last week. So I think they get the win. So, all right. The next game we have is the Baltimore Ravens 8-6 at the Cincinnati Bengals 8-6. Now this is one of the best games to watch on Sunday because the AFC North will be up for grabs in this game. So I'm hearing that Lamar Jackson did not practice. So if you don't practice in the NFL, and this is what I've learned from hanging around teams in the NFL, covering the NFL now for over 20 years, you don't practice, you don't play. There's just no way they're going to put you out there. Preseason, different story. But now, if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, this game is going to be played at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. And the Bengals, they win 15-10 over Denver last week. Ravens lose to the Green Bay Packers 31-30. They could have beaten the Packers. Once again, the Baltimore Ravens decide to go for two. They don't get it. Second time I think that's happened. And they were in first place. They went from first place to not a wild card, or they went all the way out. They went out. They went to in the hunt, as they call it. And that's one of the things that could get John Harbaugh fired. So if they lose this game to Cincinnati, they will fall to 8-7. Bengals could improve to 9-6 and take charge of the AFC North. So I think the Bengals are going to win. And right now the Bengals are already there in the front runner for the AFC North. So very interesting. And like I said, the AFC North is still up for grabs. So a great matchup there, a great divisional matchup. I'm taking the Bengals to win the game. All right, the next game we have the Los Angeles Chargers 8-6 at the Houston Texans 3-11. Now, I live here in Houston. Most of you guys know that, and I travel to Vegas to do the KDWN show. And for the holidays, I have both my sons here. One live here, and I have one visiting. And we're planning to go to this game here, but right now the Texans are impacted by COVID-19. The Omicron variant is running rampant here in Houston. So so far, 22 Texans players are out due to COVID-19. So the NFL has already decided that they would not postpone this game, even though It doesn't matter who's out for the Texans because the Texans are just the Texans. They are just horrible. But you got some big names out for the Chargers, but you don't have your quarterback is still there, and but Exler he's out, and then you have who else? You got Bosa's out. So the Chargers are going to win this game anyway. But man, it's just not going to be a competitive game to watch. So I got the Chargers winning, and they definitely need to win this game so they can, just kind of keep pace with the Kansas City Chiefs and the AFC West. So that's what I got. So might be at this game. I may not be at this game. So we'll see what goes on. So you got an 8-6. And a 3-11, but the Chargers really need this game. All right, so Austin Eckler, Eckler is the one. What did I say? I said Eckler. I didn't put the K in there. Eckler. It's not Exler. Eckler. Eckler will not be playing in that game due to COVID-19 protocols. All right, the next game we have is the Los Angeles Rams, 10-4 at the 7-7 Minnesota Vikings. So Vikings is a scary team there, and this is a good NFC matchup. Could be a playoff matchup as well. And I do, because right now the Rams hold the number 5 seed, and it looks like they're going to hold that 5 seed. Now, depending on what happened with the Cardinals, the Rams could sneak back up in there and win the division. They could they could win the division and get a higher seed there in the NFC. But looking at this, so the Rams win over Seattle. That game was moved to Tuesday night, and they win 20-10. It was moved due to so many players being out due to COVID-19. And then the Minnesota Vikings, they played on Monday night. They beat the Chicago Bears 17-9. And who did I pick on this? Because I know I took my notes. I got the Rams winning, but man, the game is played at U.S. Bank Stadium there in Minnesota. Ooh, I tell you what, man, I'm not gonna change my pick, but the Vikings can be scary though, because you just never know what's gonna happen. But the sense of urgency for the Rams there, especially knowing what the Cardinals are doing or not doing, and how things could just really change. I don't know. It could be very, very, very interesting. Now, yeah, I'm doing the show here, and I'm getting a phone call here. So normally, I was going to take that call because it was a friend of mine in Tucson, Arizona, but I didn't answer it quick enough. I was going to blast them for calling during a taping of the show, the MeanGene Show. How dare Kevin call this show while I'm trying to record it. All right. So I'm going to go with the Rams. All right. Because, the Super Bowl is going to be played at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California. And Dustin Pfeiffer likes the Rams to be there. He got the Rams in there. Just like the Buccaneers played the Super Bowl in their stadium last year or this year. He's got the Rams playing the Super Bowl in their stadium. I mean, go figure. The chances of that happening back to back, that's crazy. And there's probably a parlay in Vegas that you can bet, All right, so Santa Claus update on Christmas Eve. Santa Claus and his reindeers are now in Barcelona, Spain. All right, I'm just spending a lot of time over there in Europe, right? So he has not crossed the waters to come over to the United States yet. So just wait a little bit, okay? So definitely by the time this show is done, he probably will be making his way to the East Coast of the United States. But it's still early, folks, okay? All right, so it's not, it's got to be dark before he shows up. All right, so anyway. All right, so I got the Rams winning the game on Sunday, and the Rams improving to 11-4. And, man, the Rams, I tell you, do not take your eyes off on the Rams. All right, the next game we have is a rematch of a game we just saw a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday night, and it is an AFC East division game, and it is going to be the Buffalo Bills 8-6 at the New England Patriots 9-5. Now, I tell you what, Buffalo Bills. So first of all, Buffalo wins over the Carolina Panthers 31-14. So they took care of business as they should have. The Patriots, they lost to the Indianapolis Colts 27-17. Remember, they let Jonathan Taylor kind of run all over them, so much for the best defense in the NFL, and so much for Bill Belichick taking away your greatest weapon. He didn't do a good job of that. But the last time these two teams played, it was in Buffalo. And remember, the weather was horrible. I think Mac Jones only attempted 3 passes or something like that in that game. And the Buffalo Bills was at home, and they should have known that the weather was bad. And yet Josh Allen tried to pass the ball like it was a normal day. So this is a big game here. This is a huge game. So, I mean, if the Buffalo Bills are going to just redeem themselves from the loss that they suffered at home against the Patriots, and they're gonna get a revenge here, so to speak, and beat the Patriots, because, man, this is it. This is it. This is what the Buffalo Bills has waited for forever. No Tom Brady, right? And, they would just dominate that. What a difference between this year and last year. The Buffalo Bills just ran all over that division last year, but all of a sudden Mac Jones comes in, same Belichick, same Josh McDaniels, calling plays there, and all of a sudden, Buffalo Bills are struggling there, so they could get things done here. They could, as a matter of fact, I think I am picking the Buffalo Bills to get the win. I can guarantee you Mac Jones is going to pass the ball more than 3 times, though. That is a guarantee. But I think the Buffalo Bills are going to get the win. They're going to get the win. So that's only going to make things more interesting in the AFC. And I think, I don't know. I think as far as who's going to win that division, it's probably going to go down to the last game. So, all right. The next game we have is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars 2-12 at the New York Jets 3-11. And let's see. All right, I think Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, I believe he tested positive for COVID, so he may not be coaching. Darrell Bevell, he's going to be looking for his first win as an interim coach, because he replaces oh, man, this is crazy how I forget about the head coach that they got rid of that quick. Urban Meyer. Okay, all right. Urban Meyer, we all trying to forget about Urban Meyer. I know everyone in Jacksonville is, so I damn near forgot about him. Jacksonville Jaguars lose to the Houston Texans last week, 30-16. The New York Jets lose to the Miami Dolphins last week, 31-24. I like the Jets to win. As I stated, the coach is going to be out due to COVID-19. The game is going to be played at MetLife Stadium in New York. I like the Jets to win. Next game, New York Giants 4-10 at the Philadelphia Eagles 7-7. Giants lose to the Dallas Cowboys last week 21-6. Eagles win on Tuesday night. That game was moved also due to COVID-19. I think it was the Washington football team had a ton of players out due to COVID-19 protocols. Eagles win 27-17 over the Washington football team. This game is going to be played at Lincoln Financial Field. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think the Eagles are going to make the playoffs, too. I think at first I said only one team was going to win, only one team was going to make the playoffs from the NFC East, and that was going to be the Dallas Cowboys, who I picked to win that division. I still say Dallas win that division, but it looks like of late here, the Eagles, man, they're doing some things. And the last game of the season, the Eagles and Cowboys are going to play, and that game is going to be played in Philly. And the Eagles could win that game. And I don't know if the Cowboys are going to be in a position. They might be in a position to set players out, because I think they would have probably already clinched the NFC East. So you're probably going to get a win anyway from the Eagles. But and then that win should put the Eagles into the wild card position, depending on what else happens. And they could get that last spot, because at 7-7, they just might have that winning record to get on in there in that last spot. So I got the Eagles winning the game against the New York Giants on Sunday. We'll talk more about the Giants maybe next week when I get Dustin on, because I don't know what direction the Giants are going in, but they are an awful football team. All right, the next game is the first game of the late games on Sunday. Chicago Bears 4-10 at the Seattle Seahawks 5-9. And as bad as the Seattle Seahawks are at 5-9, they are still in the hunt. I mean, a lot of crazy things have to happen for them to make that wild card, but they are still in the hunt. I have the Seahawks winning on Sunday, and I know they're playing some ugly football. I mean, they're going to try to salvage what's left of their season, but I still think that things are going to fall apart for the Seattle Seahawks. I think you're going to see Russell Wilson go somewhere. You might see Pete Carroll retire or whatever, but things are going to change. It's just it's really sad to see how things are falling apart there for the Seattle Seahawks. And then you're probably going to see the Matt Nagy coach the last couple of games for the Chicago Bears as well. I think he's looking at being fired too at the end of the season. All right, the next game, the Pittsburgh Steelers 7-6-1 at the Kansas City Chiefs 10-4. Now, early on, this looked like it was going to be a major loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but COVID-19 says otherwise, and Travis Kelce did not clear COVID-19 protocols, and neither did Tyreek Hill. He's also out due to COVID-19 protocols. So Chiefs win over the Chargers in overtime last Thursday, 34-28. Steelers beat the Titans 19-13 in a huge AFC win. So this game is going to be played at Arrowhead Stadium. And like I said, the AFC North is up for grabs. And this is a big AFC matchup. So these teams could meet in the playoffs if the Steelers were to make it. So did you see the end of the Titans-Steelers game where the camera got really close to Mike Tomlin and he just happened to blow a kiss to the camera? And that had a lot of meaning to it. That was to say, okay, for everybody that had wrote off the Steelers and thought the Titans would come in there and beat the Steelers, it was like, nah, not so fast, right? Like Lee Kershaw always says. So, man, yeah, I don't know. Just because a team is depleted of their top players due to COVID protocol, that does not mean that they will lose a game. And Andy Reid will still find a way. The Kansas City Chiefs are loaded with backup players, and if you have seen throughout the season, Patrick Mahomes have hit other players, Hartman. I mean, they got a lot of players. Pringle. They got other people that can step up and fill in. And it's probably going to just come down to the defense. But the Steelers, man, I tell you, that was a big win last week. And it was huge. And this is going to come down to the Steelers' season for the most part. They lose this game. And I think, but we've said that for the last couple of games, though. They lose this game, they're done. They lose this game, they're done. And they keep winning. They keep winning these meaningful games there. So I don't know. The last game I went to see these two teams play, the Chiefs just beat the brakes off the Steelers. This was at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh a few years ago. I was up there. But the Steelers got some players out due to COVID-19 as well. They got a couple of Devin Bush is out, McFarland is out. But man, all right. So I'm going to pick Pittsburgh, right? All right. Having said all that, I'm going to pick the Steelers to go in, and Mike Tomlin's going to find a way to get it done. I just, it's hard to go against them. They find a way to get it done. That defense, so we're gonna put it all on the shoulders of T.J. Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick, and see what these guys can get done on Sunday. So got Pittsburgh winning this game. All right, the next game, Denver Broncos 7-7 at the Las Vegas Raiders 7-7. Raiders beat Cleveland on Monday. That game was moved. And the Broncos lose to the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday, 15-10. Like the Raiders in this game, man, Derek Carr's numbers are up there. And over the last couple of years, he's had over 4,000 yards passing. And he's up there with, I think, Mahomes and Brady, for passing yards. I mean, that's some pretty good company, right? So I got the Raiders winning this game. And that AFC, like I said, man, it's a lot of teams up there that are vying, for that wild card spot. So I'm going to go with the Raiders to get that win. All right. Sunday night game. We're finally down to the Sunday night game here. And I'll tell you what, the Dallas Cowboys, I got them winning over the Washington football team. And, as much as Cowboy haters want to count Dallas out, I got them winning, and they should clinch the NFC East. And trust me, I'm not a fan of the Cowboys, but I will admit this is a pretty good team and one that shouldn't be ignored at all. All right, that's all I'm going to say. And the Dallas Cowboys are going to win on Sunday night. The Washington football team 6-8. Cowboys 10-4. The game was at AT&T Stadium. Dallas should get that win. The Monday night game, the last game here on the Mean Gene Show here on iHeartRadio, Miami Dolphins 7-7 at the New Orleans Saints 7-7. So a lot of 7-7 teams, a lot of teams trying to get that last wild card spot there in the NFC. Whew, where are my notes here? I had something important I wanted to say. I said the Saints would win, but the Dolphins would not make it easy. And don't be surprised if the Dolphins win. The Saints are going to be without Taysom Hill. I think he's out due to the COVID-19 protocols. So this is going to hurt them quite a bit. And I am told that the Saints are going to start a rookie at quarterback. Ian Brooks is going to start at quarterback. But the Saints have Alvin Kamara, so I'm sure that this rookie is going to be told to give the ball to Kamara. Give the ball to Kamara, right? And they brought in the other running back that they had, Ingram. So you got Ingram and Kamara. Give it to Ingram and you throw it to Kamara, or give it to Kamara and throw it to Ingram. Either way, this quarterback will not be throwing it a lot. All right. So, and we've all seen it with rookie quarterbacks getting their first start. So I got the Saints winning. I got them winning at home. I mean, it's not easy to win at the Superdome, and but the Dolphins need to win. I mean, they still trying to keep things alive there. They, Saints coming off a big win. Saints defense is good, though. So they're going to create problems for the Dolphins anyway. But the Saints are still, celebrating that big win over Tampa last week. And the Jets also, the Dolphins also celebrating the win off the Jets last week, 31-24. So, all right, that is going to do it for this episode of the Mean Gene Show here on iHeartRadio. I need everyone to stay safe, enjoy your games, and we'll be back here next week. We'll be on iHeartRadio. The show is always on iHeartRadio because KDWN, 720 AM and 101.5 FM Las Vegas, they also carry their shows on iHeartRadio. So you get to hear me on iHeartRadio anyway. All right, so one last update on Santa Claus. I am told he is now in Algeria. So Algeria, so that's a long way from the USA. So you got time. You got time to put the kids to sleep and all that stuff and wrap up those last gifts and all that stuff. So, all right. So Merry Christmas, everyone. We'll see you next year. We will not do another show until 2022. All right. Merry Christmas. We'll see you next year here on the Mean Gene Show.
How much fun it's gonna be together.